Namaste, one and all, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome back to your favorite show with your favorite bro. Back one more time. Uh, back, back one last time for this week. Back like Monday Night Football on ESPN and ABC. Just a single header today, not a double header that we've gotten used to. So let's get into it. 76, 57, and 1 record so far. So let's try to get that one more. We are 20 wins over 500. We could breathe a little bit just in case, the next couple of weeks it does not go our way. We could still kind of rock out with it and kind of try to push to the playoffs with still a positive record. And yeah, let's take a little deep dive into it. It is the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Arizona Cardinals in this one matchup tonight. But without Kyler Murray, I'm sorry, Cardinals. We are rocking out with the Cowboys. Why do I say that? Let's look into it. Let's look at some numbers first, and then we'll dive into everything else after. Look at yards per play. They're getting about 6 yards per play for the Cowboys. The Cardinals, on the other hand, they're getting about 4.9, about 5. So they're, like on the mark right there. But if you look at their rushing percentages, if you look at their pass play percentages, they are almost identical. 60 to 40 for the Cowboys. We're looking at 60.32 to 39.68 for the Cardinals. So they are, it's 64 run pass run, completion percentages. I do want to give a shout out to Jacoby Brissett. I think he has played a factor in raising the completion percentage for the Cardinals at 67 because I see Kyler more as a 60% passing completer. Third down conversion, Cardinals at about 44.79. Red zone scoring 55.56. That's going to be tough if you're getting field goals over touchdowns every time. I know, Cardinals did have a good week last week. Unfortunate that they did end up losing. It was a close matchup. I do believe it was against Indy that they played last time out. They do have defensive pieces and everything that you need. However, offensively, if you look at their running back position, Trey Benson, James Conner both being out. Amari DiMarcardo, even after having his moment getting punched by his head coach a few weeks ago, he's back in this one. However, it's the weapons that do not give me enough faith. Marvin Harrison, is this going to be his breakout game without having a secondary to really go up against? You're going up against Ghost. So, this is probably the best game for you to go off like JSN did last night on Primetime. If you want to be in that conversation, you need to get into it and very fast. Does not matter who the quarterback is because Jamar Chase is putting up numbers with Joe Burrow, Joe Flacco, Jake Browning, everybody. If you want to be in that conversation, you need to start doing that too. Michael Wilson. That's what happens when you don't have good coaching. I think if he leaves to a different team, I think there's going to be some flashes that we see out of Michael Wilson, and we're going to be like, why was that not popping out with the Cardinals? But it's going to be apparent why not after. Trey McBride, one of the better tight ends. The offensive line, they just need to stay healthy in a sense. They have Will Hernandez, they have Evan Brown, they have 2 solid tackles. Their center, solid, they're pretty young, so really can't put any onus on him because he's surrounded by veterans that should be doing better. 4-3 defense. This is where some questions does arise from you defensively. Coming out of 3-4 in Philadelphia, now you're playing Josh Sweat, who was used to playing 3-4 outside linebacker. Now he's putting his hand in the dirt. 4-3. Javen Collins still playing linebacker. Whether it is, strong side linebacker does not matter. He should not be a linebacker. He's a rusher. As a 3-4 rusher, he might actually, he's actually big enough where he's, I want to say 6'4", 250, where he could put his hand in the dirt. You could set in Darius Robinson on the inside to kind of relieve Calais Campbell at his age now. You kind of make that work. Baron Browning, BJ Ojulari, they're listed as linebacker, but those guys are 3-4 outside rushers. I mean, so there's a portion of this team that's kind of mismanaged in that sense. In the back end, if you look at it, so many injuries. Jeez. Sean Murphy Bunting being out, Joey Blunt's out, Starling Thomas is out, Garrett Williams is out, Keaton Crawford's questionable, Will Johnson's questionable. Their secondary's been hit. Max Melton's playing corner, Kittel Clark in the nickel. We're gonna have to see who else fills in if Will Johnson ends up playing. They have hope. I've mentioned this earlier in the season too. I think it is time that Kyler and Cardinals find their separate ways. Um, they're going to have to find their quarterback, and they are not easy to find. They are going to have to move to a different direction to start getting talent all around and play with a young quarterback because yeah, I don't know. I just can't see much done with this roster because even if you look at this roster, like I was mentioning, Bilal Nichols, who for the Raiders and for the Bears played as a D tackle, is listed as a 4-3 DN. He cannot play 4-3 DN. He's an inside guy, not an outside guy. And like I mentioned, all the other guys, you can't be playing linebackers with those and not having them closer to the line of scrimmage if they are playing drop coverage. That's what you have Matt Wilson and Akeem Davis gather, Owen Popo for. But you need to add more linebackers, those pass rushers, and not getting home to the quarterback. So you need to be able to replenish them next year. And like I mentioned, it all starts at quarterback position. The offensive line looks decent that you can move forward with. You always want to keep developing and getting better there. You want to get some more weapons offensively. Marvin Harrison and Michael Wilson cannot be your only two weapons. And the running game needs to kind of come back to help the quarterback. I think Cardinals are there, but at the same time, they've had some misfortunes that's taken them out of it. Talking about misfortunes, let's look at the Cowboys. Their defense is almost non-existent, so this could be a high-scoring matchup. Can the Cardinals upset in Jerry World? Yes, they can. But I trust Dak, a healthy Dak this year. The offensive line looks healthy. Run game with Javonte Williams has looked trustable. And the two weapons on the outside, when you have weapons of that magnitude, Jake Ferguson's doing well, and a running game that's pretty decent. They're going to put up points, easily 30-ish points against a defense that's kind of depleted on their end too. So it could be a good matchup. Hopefully, a high-scoring matchup on both ends. Respectfully for the defense, you guys could kind of take a break because not like you guys have kind of been dominant in this season anyway. So let's give offensive firepower both sides. Let's see Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison kind of go off, have the game of their career so far in a sense. And on the other side, you have a mobile Dak, a running game that could kind of be relied upon, and two weapons that you kind of rely on. I feel like you have to rock out with them, especially being at home in Jerry World. And with the Giants kind of, losing their steam a little bit with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo, Dallas could kind of still try to pry their way to the seventh seed and try to do something in the playoffs. Maybe if, Trayvon Diggs and their other secondary pieces do get healthier in the playoffs, they make some sort of noise, maybe pull off an upset. We're going to have to see for that. But for now, they definitely win this one at home. And you already know what it is. We're going to be back already on Thursday with either, 20 wins over 500 or we're just going to be slightly under. But we will be back on Thursday. You already know what to do. Go like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, go keep catching up on QuickTakez and all the other ones. Your boy will be back. You already know. Peace.